What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on the Space Engineers Inspiration series. We're starting things off today with the Luna 33, Luna 55, Luna double-digit number somewhere. As always, just look down in the description because I don't remember the names of things. So this is actually a pretty interesting build. It's a civilian ship. And according to the description, I believe it said it was primarily used for two things. One, I guess it can go from atmosphere to space, I believe. But it was also designed to implement a new airlock and a pressurized small grid system. I don't really know much about the actual building stuff of the overall community. Like, I know the game, but I never really realized there was any kind of, like, issue with pressurizing small interiors, other than just some people don't do it. Like, when they're building ships and things, it's just not really common, actually, now that I think about it. So, but apparently there's this interesting thing. But I like the exterior and stuff, too. I will say I'm kind of a fan of small ships that are like the Corvette, or for a while they were known as Small Ships Gone Wild kind of thing. Because it gives you more detail. Like, you can do a lot more fancier hulls, like this kind of stuff and things, which is really cool. I accidentally turned my jetpack off just now. So you get some better interiors, I think, when you're doing a small ship grid. Without doing mods and things, you can get some more detail. So apparently, you're supposed to get in the seat. Okay. Into the seat. And get out of the seat? I'm not really sure how this works, to be honest. Oh, is it interesting? Hold on. There we go. That's an interesting way to do it. Now, how do you get back out? Oh, this way. So, what you're doing here, for those of you that may not know, is you're getting between, I just recalled what the description said of get between the wall and the seat and get in, and then when you get out, it's supposed to, it's supposed to kind of kick you out, kind of thing. This doesn't, there we go. So it has something to do with you facing backwards when you enter into the seat, and then when you get out of the chair, it's trying to push you back in that direction, and it pushes you through the wall. Is what I'm assuming happens. If I can get this to work again. There we go. So that is a relatively pretty interesting way to get in and out of a ship. Alright, and that is very sealed. That would be very, very sealed. Like, you can't get much more sealed than phasing through a wall. So, you know. But yeah, again, I like the small ship grid stuff because you get a lot of detail work like this. This has got a really, really detailed interior, and it's very cool. I do think when I read in the comments of this build that it did use an edited file to get the large ship medical bay and stuff like that in here that's not typically available for a small grid. We've got, what are all these signs back here? I didn't read these. Medical, engineering, bedroom, and bathroom. So you obviously have the medical bay here with what I'm guessing is going to end up being, like, supplies, or would be supplies. So this goes back into engineering. I really like the new small grid programmable blocks that they did. That's pretty cool. We've got buttons that are unassigned, it looks like. And then this goes back into something. And again, you've got a gravity generator, which is not typical for a small ship grid. Battery backup. Okay. And this toggles all the different batteries on. And then this is the backup, I'm assuming, based on what I'm reading here. Let's see what we got here. Large reactors. So there's six total large reactors, and it looks like 9 or... wait. 10. Weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Numbers. And then we've got a backup over here that rounds it out to 10. Storage 1 through 3. Corner lights. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's cool. You got kind of the shelf unit type thing going on. Storage 4 through 6. and what looks to be like a mechanical welding table type thing. Whoa! Sorry. Don't do that. I don't know what that did. I don't want to do it anymore, though. So this I'm really impressed with, too. We've actually got, like, this stairway. So it's a multi-floor. It doesn't really look like that big of a ship from the outside, to be honest. We've got a canteen and a bridge. I really did not think there would be this much interior-wise. Evac. I don't know how. Okay. Not really sure what that's for, to be in all honesty. Unless there's some kind of button. Corridor. Perhaps there's like some kind of button that would blow that open or something if there's like a warhead there. I don't know. Because I get the whole having a seat and then clipping through the wall, but there's no seat here, so I'm not really sure how that works. And then this is the bridge looks very cool. Ooh, I like it. It looks like they might have used the same edited flight seat thing to get the flight seat in here as well. Request evac on and off. Oh! I kind of don't know what that's going to do, so we'll leave that for last before we mess with that. Can we get around here? Is there anything back here? I feel like there's some kind of thing back here. It looks like that's a hobbit hole or something. Oh, well, whatever. Room 2 lights. Okay, so this is the bridge, right? So I guess this is just kind of like a chill spot kind of thing. That could be the bedroom, but I'm not really sure. Let's go back with these signs. Bridge, canteen. Bedrooms are upstairs. Okay. So, what do you do? That's just a programmable block, I guess. We'll go up to the canteen. I really, 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 really like this stairway type thing going on. There's a lot of little, like, using... What is this? Half blocks? Haha! I'm already starting to identify the half blocks, but it's a really nice touch of using these half ramps, or well, not half ramps, but wait a minute, that's the okay. I thought these were the base blocks, but they're actually using a full block at the bottom and then the tip point of the armor slopes to cover up and make it look kind of like one of the back points of the slopes. That's kind of an interesting trick. That's pretty cool. And then you got the blast door blocks over top of regular block. I like that. That's really neat. That's really, really cool. Alright, what do we got here? Canteen lights, tunnel lights. Oh, this must be the tunnel. Okay. So we have a little, I'm assuming that's a little stove, and a seating area, and a sink, with a little window so you can see who's coming up the stairs, or shout at them, or throw things at them if you don't want them to come up. I don't know. Kind of makes it feel like a loft area, though. That's kind of cool. Alright, so I wanted to see upstairs as well. I just really like this interior design and stuff. Like, it's got a lot of little modern designs, like this little crevice handrail type thing and stairways and stuff like that. It's really neat. We have a restroom. Okay, toilet, fine, whatever. So we got bunks. The description did say it was a minimum of 1, but a maximum of 4, which is evident by the bunks. So we have 4 bunks. Hub. So this just says hub. I'm not really sure what this would be used for other than like a seating area. And then I'm assuming this is interior light bedroom. I'm assuming this is just storage for the residents of the ship type of thing. What are these again? Oh, again, never thought to use those that way. That's an interesting idea. Huh. I like all the creative use of ramps and stuff like that. Oh, and see, this was actually something we noted in one of the other episodes, is that you can use paint to disconnect the connected texture type thing, which is basically what's going on here, in order to create these little pathways. That's a pretty cool little neat way to do it. A lot of little details in here that I think is a really cool way of doing things, like as far as if you're trying to work within if you're trying to work within the realm of vanilla kind of deal. Okay, I gotta push the button. I gotta see what happens. I want to know. Okay, hit that. What happens? Anything? Anything? I'm confused. I don't know how the evac thing works. Oh, wait a minute. Is there something up here? Exterior, rear... Oh, that's all the lights. Okay. Request evac on and off. And that's empty. I like this too. It obviously doesn't serve a purpose because all the buttons are empty, but I like the kind of feeling of like there's a bunch of circuitry and stuff going on. I think that's cool. Okay, so we have the backward thrusters, gravity for walking. The description listed a gravity drive, but it said it was offline, so I'm not entirely sure how that works, as far as if it's something they haven't... Ah! 33. There it is. Request evac. Is that what I turned on? Ah! Okay, so there's a beacon for requesting evac. That must be what's behind that wall, is the laser antenna, or beacon type thing, I imagine. Interesting. Alright, so now the question is, how does it fly? So, yeah, it actually moves really, really well. I really like the movement of it. It works pretty good. Speed-wise and stuff, it actually accelerates and decelerates relatively well as well. Again, it's not like as fast as like a fighter or something, but it's not designed to be. It isn't armed because it's predominantly a civilian ship, according to the description. So, yeah, overall, I thought it was a really cool and unique kind of look to things. It was very, very detailed, and that's some of the stuff that I really enjoy about the building mechanics of the game. So with that, we're going to wrap this one up, and let's move on to the next one. Alrighty, so next up we have the USS Shenzhou, which, for those of you that may not be aware, is one of the ships in the beginning, in the first episode and stuff of the new Star Trek Discovery series. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Miranda class, for those of you that are familiar with that. A little bit. It's different. In particular, it has I'm no Star Trek expert. I just enjoy this show and stuff, but I'm not really one of those like nitpick the schematic differences and stuff between ships. But one difference is obviously it has these slanted arms instead of the squared off ones, and it has more to it than just the dish. The Miranda's kind of like a big dish, and then it has the nacelles underneath, and most of the mass of the ship is kind of occupied by the dish. Now, one thing I do have to bring up, I understand, and it's not really a critique of the build, it's just a building style. I kind of wish that for a ship like this, especially one that looks this good, as far as we talked about the last one, even about being detailed, it is a small ship grid, so like I said before, you get a bit more detail work in the hull and stuff like that, and some of the dips and crevices and things like that. However, the kind of downside to that is it doesn't have a functioning like interior. All the interior stuff is just where all the gyroscopes and things are. It's not really a walk around like the actual ship would be. So it was according to the description and the comments in the description and stuff, I believe it was designed more for dogfighting and stuff like that, kind of like working on the exterior type of design. So the design part on the outside is really cool, and I do like the detail stuff in it, and most large ship grids that try and do these kinds of ships, they're a bit more to scale, but they don't quite have the same level of detail a lot of times, which is why I really do like small ship builds for things, because you can get a lot more particular because the block size is smaller and things like that. So that was a little bit of like a, because it looked so good from the outside that I was hoping that it would have the interior, but, you know, nothing's perfect kind of thing. But the outside, though, it really does look really good. I really do like the attention to detail and stuff like that. Again, with that in mind, the one spot that is a little bit lacking is the bridge, because the bridge would have an interior type of thing if it was actually done on like a bigger grid. So we have this one, which is basically a small ship fighter cockpit type thing. But it does, like when you just pan out in third person kind of thing and look at it, it does look really, really close, just at a glance, to the full scale version type of thing. So that's really, really cool. I do like the attention to the light on the nose there too, because the Shenzhou, I think it had a radar dish or something in the show, but it does have some weird little light emitting area from the nose kind of thing that I thought was kind of interesting. So from here, we have reloadable rocket launchers, and then it looks like the Gatlings are controlled via turrets and not the actual like chain gun type of thing. So we have the reloadables there, which are right there, coming out of the nose, which is really cool. Now, one big benefit to it being on the smaller grid is it does move a lot better than it probably would on the larger grid. Speed-wise, it's a little bit on the sluggish acceleration, but again, these are not fighter ships. They're a little bit bigger in nature, so they're going to move and accelerate and decelerate a little bit slower than you would get from some kind of fighter. But turning and the gyroscope control with the mouse and stuff is very responsive. That's actually surprisingly responsive. So I can definitely see where the description talked about it being designed for more of like a dogfighting scenario and like stuff like that, because it definitely would work a lot better than some big hulking large ship grid version. But so yeah, with that, I think we're going to wrap this one up, and let's move on to the next one. Alrighty, so the next up we have is the RS-19 something prototype, but I don't remember what the other name part of it is. And of course it's Max. Everybody knows how much I have been dying waiting for the day that we can actually have like some Armored Core type stuff going on, or some Gundam battles in Space Engineers, because it'll happen. It's gonna happen eventually. Actually, these are probably pretty capable of doing so if you're talking about flight. I don't know if it would work if you were talking about like walking, having the legs move around and stuff like that. I'm not even going to pretend to know how these things are put together to make them look very mech-like. A lot of the styles we see typically are more mech warrior kind of stuff like that, not quite as anime style. So kudos to however they are built to get them to work that way. And I guess this one is kind of the main, like the final product kind of thing, because if you can kind of tell, this one is kind of like the base model, then they had the guns attached, now this one has the actual part attached to the back here. So I guess you could say there's like 3 different versions, but I think this is kind of the main real version to it. Now there's a couple of caveats here. This is a world file, so you don't have to worry about mods, but it also does not come with block damage off. Now this is a good and a bad thing, and it's a bad thing because they can blow up. It's a good thing because you can actually see there is a way to fly them without blowing them up. The biggest thing that I noticed, because I played around with this world a little bit, the biggest thing that I noticed, now I did change the world file actually to have arcade sounds because I like it better, but there's not any locks listed here that I could find on the toolbars. This basically moves the left hand up, second one moves the right hand, or at least it adds speed. It's not really moving them up and down. And then you have the reverse buttons and the reset buttons to neutralize their velocity. But whenever you try and fly them, and you know what, I'm just going to use this one real quick since it doesn't really have any bells and whistles on it to kind of explain where I'm going with it. Now, the description mentions to turn the dampeners off, and then you can fly around, which is true, but you do also need to lock the limbs because, as you can see, they're kind of floaty. And if you don't, and you start pulling crazy maneuvers, I don't really know what the dampeners has to do with it, because once I lock the limbs, it seems to be fine from what I can tell. But if you... let's just leave them off for argument's sake here, but if you really, like, spin around or do some crazy stuff, you'll see, like that. It goes kaplooey. Not a good way to use mechs. Where's the other ones? They're there. Oh, dampeners are off. So, I am going to kind of do a different version on this. The mechanics are there. It's just not set up on the hotbar. At least not that I can tell. So this one actually has armaments, as we can see, all well and good. I'm going to try and keep the legs a bit like that. And then if you go to groups, there actually is a foot lock, and we'll set the safety lock override here, and the hand L, and the hand R. Now with those in place, now the weird part that I notice is the hand ones is inverted. It's like on is off, and off is on. The feet ones work normally. Feet one works normally. So, for example, if we wanted the arms up, we'd pull them up like this, and then we turn the momentum back off, and then we turn these to off, and now they're locked in place. And we're just going to lock the legs as they are. Partially because there's rocket launchers on there, and it's helpful if they're pointing forward. So now, at this point, I personally, in my minimal testing, did not find anything wrong with flying without dampeners. Turned off. It didn't seem to do anything crazy. Maybe at higher speeds it would. I don't know. But at this point, then you can start messing around with weaponry. So for example, we've got the all weapons fire, we've got some cameras, a boost. Now I don't know what that actually does, but that might be why you need the dampeners off, because at high speeds it might break things. But at this point you can set for missiles. I don't know what that was over there. And like I said, there's one rocket launcher under the arm on the left, there's two in the gun pods on the back, and then there's three on each leg. So you get quite the fireworks. And then of course you can switch over to your chain guns, which is always fun. And then like I said before, there is the all fire where it just activates everything, and you're a one-man wrecking crew. Now, what I'm curious about is where the other one went. I lost it. Yeah, I lost the other one. Yay. Got him! So, yeah, one thing I want to try is the boosters. When I use the WASD keys, I noticed there's nothing on the gun pod thrusters coming out, so I'm guessing that's what it's going to do. Eventually. Maybe. There might be an override, I suppose. Let's look for... Is there a toggle? It is on. Well, I don't know why the boost isn't working then, because it looked like it should be an override. Oh well. Yeah, those are definitely the boost thrusters. I just don't know why they're not working. But that's above my pay grade. So, the last one, we're going to basically do the same thing with. I'm just going to do it really quickly. Which is to set up its locks. And the interesting part to the third model here is that the third one actually has... it actually has this cool little spinny thing on the back. And y'all know how much I like spinny things. So the cool part here... Nope. Wrong button. Okay. And then this one actually also has leg... no. I think that... Is this legs? Yes, these are the leg controls. I believe, if I remember correctly. Then we have weapon controls again. But this time up here we have the gun controls and the rotate. These two operate the back ring How this actually works, again, it's a little floaty disconnect thing. Don't really know how that works. So if we turn this on, we can get these to reposition themselves, which is pretty cool. And then with the gyroscope icon on, if we turn this up a bit, you can see it starts actually spinning, which is pretty cool. Now I don't see there's probably, I mean, all you'd have to do is add another little hotbar option to add a decrease, and then you would be able to spin it the other way. But as it stands, if you turn it off, then it's kind of just floaty. It kind of rotates along with you, which is pretty cool. Now, in order to get a little bit faster, we can turn the dampeners off, and then you can pick up speed a little bit easier because you're not slowing down in any direction. But once again, you also have the fire all button, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, overall, you could actually use these in a in like a actual PvP or something and do mech battles kind of thing, which would be pretty freaking awesome. We're still not at the point where we can have like walker type things that walk really well. The walking part's still kind of janky in most builds and things like that, but overall, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's pretty close. I'm loving it. So yeah. This episode, though, is going to be a little bit different. I've never actually done this before, but I have one more I actually wanted to do. It wasn't really quite a build per se, but I thought it would be worth noting. So let's move on to the last one. Okay, and last but not least is a build towards hope. Now I included this one at the end because it's not really a very interesting build per se, but I don't know that there isn't a lot more of inspiration kind of thing. I originally created the inspiration series to do inspirations on how to build, new building techniques, how to utilize the game engine to do other cool things. And quite frankly, when I ran across this on the workshop, I never even thought of it before. It never occurred to me to use a game as a kind of platform like this. And so I thought it was very inspiring in the truest sense of the word, not because of the build techniques or anything like that, but because of what it actually was. I thought it was very interesting. For those of you that don't know, this build was dedicated to the victims of the Las Vegas shooting on October 1st. And with that in mind, I'm actually not going to talk too much about this. I'm instead actually going to read the description verbatim. So bear with me while I Alt-Tab and read this out. And I apologize if we lose audio in the game or if it's a still image or something. I couldn't think of a better way to do this because I was running short on time and just wanted to include it. So, per the creator, which I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce their name. It'll be in the description along with everything else like it normally is. So the description reads verbatim. I'm just reading it off here. This build is dedicated to the lives lost on October 1st, 2017 and all those in previous acts of violence against innocents. To those who were impacted by these events, my thoughts and prayers are with you and your families. Know that you are cared for. I'm not a political individual. I am not an activist. I have been all over the world and through war-torn countries, but I have seen enough senseless killing without cause, without reason or justification. Natural disasters are unavoidable. War is inevitable. We are human, after all, but senseless acts of evil must stop. This evil is not bound by borders, laws, or any physical means. It persists by inaction on the part of us, our societies, and our communities. The act That's not how the description reads. The acts perpetrated by the individuals responsible are not a means of achieving any sort of victory. Nothing is gained by these motives. Everybody loses. Show your support, subscribe, and add your block to the wall. Add a comment, or send me a friend request, and I will add you as a contributor to show that you are a part of the build towards hope. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine too, just hit the like button. Here we gather, all quote-unquote builders from all over the world, united to take a stand against hatred in all of its forms. No race, no religion, no culture, gender, physicality, or handicap divides us. We are all the same. We are all human. If you see someone in your day-to-day who is hurting, reach out to them. Maybe all they need is a friend. Who knows? You may just save lives. Let's build a better world together. Let's build towards hope. End description. And that's what caught my eye about this. I really found it captivating in a way that it wasn't really... in all of you who watch my channel usually know I don't get involved a lot with political or hot button issues. Mainly because, while it's not because I don't have a lack of opinion on the topics, I just don't feel my channel is the best place to discuss them. That would be like start a political channel or an activist channel or something. I did a gaming and entertainment one, so I don't want to get into big hot button issues or controversial topics. But I like that about this, that this had nothing to do with that. There was no cause, no motive, no cause or agenda or political, or as the creator even says, not being an activist of any kind. It was simply a gesture of, kind of that, to all the people that are affected by it, that, this is a bad thing. This sucks. We're here for you. We, as it says, our thoughts and prayers, our hearts go out to you, kind of thing. And I found that very interesting, and I found that very inspiring, that it wasn't behind some agenda or cause. It was just a way to say, we're here for you, kind of thing. And I thought that was very cool motive type of thing. So like I said before, it's not about a build or a technique or a building style like it typically is, but I still found this inspiring, particularly because of my shock at, I never would have thought to use a game engine that way to build some kind of digital monument type of thing. And I thought that was really interesting. I've never really seen it before, so I thought I would include it. Like I said before, I don't usually get into a lot of political issues or news-related stuff. I kind of keep my channel focused on gaming. So I don't want this to spark anything. I don't want to get a lot of, debating or anything going on in the comments, if things like that. It was just kind of something that I thought was a really neat gesture, and so I thought I would include it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. With that, we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.